or may not have a storm rolling in, so the light may or may not change drastically as I film. But either way, welcome to my channel. My name is Brianne Beebe and I'm a high school math teacher, and I love talking and sharing about all things revolving around organization and productivity. I have a Facebook group called the Organized Teacher Challenge. I'll link it below in case you want to join. But every month we do some kind of a challenge to organize some part of our classroom or our teacher life. And typically, it depends because every month is different. We focus on something different. Different things to organize have different needs. But typically, I walk through all the steps of getting this thing organized. And then our last step is to always create a system. So today for this video, I wanted to talk about systems that will keep you organized. So first of all, let's start by defining systems. Systems are repeatable step-by-step processes, or they could even be sets of processes. It doesn't really matter. It depends on what you're trying to systematize, but anything that you do repeatedly could pretty much be systematized. So for me, I have systems around my grading, lesson planning, making to-do lists, submitting report card grades, anything teacher related that you can think of, there's a system for it. I love systems because I feel like they're the top tier productivity strategy. And when you have a system in place, you're not wasting time wondering, where should I start? What do I do first? You already know what to do because you have a system in place. You have sets of procedures already planned out, so you can just dive in and get to work on whatever it is that you're doing. I'm frustrated, the light's already changed, but we're gonna just keep on rolling with this. So when you have these systems in place that you've been working on for a while, they start to become habitual. You don't really think about them, you just kind of jump into them automatically because they become part of your overall routine, and it just is another way that it helps you save time. It makes it so you don't have to think about what do I do next and what do I have to do. You just know because you've been doing it for a while. When it comes to systems, you want to try to plan them out in advance so that you know what to do and when to do it. The thing with systems is it kind of acts like how your classroom management plan would, which is if you don't have a plan in place, your students will have a plan for you. Systems will do the same thing. You will end up creating these habits that become your systems that you didn't put any intentionality behind, and that doesn't help you. So you want to make systems work for you, because again, you're likely going to have them anyway if we're thinking about just in terms of routines. So when it comes to increasing your productivity with systems, the first thing that I like to focus on is organization, which is what we're going to talk about today. Organization and productivity really go hand in hand. Productivity strategies that you have, like systems, they're going to keep your organization going and running and prolong its lifespan. And then having organization in place helps you to be productive. So you're not wasting time doing things that you don't need to be doing because things are organized. The first system that I recommend planning out is a paper flow. So this is a system where you determine how you're going to organize paper as it comes in. Funny thing is that we've had this crazy digital teaching year in 2020 through 2021, and when teachers join the Organized Teacher Challenge Facebook group, they're still telling me that the biggest struggle that they face organization-wise is paper. There's still paper everywhere. My year was relatively paperless, but I understand that everyone had different situations this year. So with the paper flow, you have essentially categories for your different types of paper, and based on what category they fall into, you have a system of where that paper is going to go. So the most common one is paper that we have to grade of student work, and I have a spot for that to go on my desk. And then when that's graded, it goes into a spot in the front of my classroom to be passed back. Now, if you want to see more details about this, I have a whole video dedicated to it. It's now almost 4 years old, but this is still exactly what I do, or would if we didn't have to be remote this year. But anyway, other types of paper that you're likely to come across are papers on things that you have to act upon, things you have to do. I have a to-do letter tray on my desk, and then there's the papers that I have to hold on to but don't necessarily need to do anything with them. They go into a tray on my desk labeled to file. And then I have filing Fridays where I file all the papers away on Friday from that tray. So I honestly really miss handling paper. That's total side note though. The great thing is that because I have a whole system for my paper flow, I'm able to not have piles upon piles upon piles of paper surrounding me all the time. They're all in these designated places where they belong. Another system for organization is just a way to keep your supplies organized. And this is another problem that teachers tell me about when they join the Facebook group. It's that they have organization in place, but they still end up with all kinds of things all over the place where they don't belong. It's like they have a place for everything, but they don't keep everything in its place. This is kind of a common problem, and I totally get it, because a lot of the supplies, I'm just thinking about what I have to go through, they are things that I use once a year. Like we do a cross sections activity with Play-Doh. I have Play-Doh in my classroom for this one lesson. It's one of my favorite lessons of the year. So like I'm not gonna ditch it and not use Play-Doh. I'm just gonna have to find a place to put the Play-Doh. The thing is that if I'm only using it once a year, I have to dig it out to get to it. Kind of, not necessarily. I know exactly where it is, it's easy to access, but just thinking about other teachers, they're probably going through something where they have to dig this thing out and then they're done with it, and then it's like, oh, who wants to put that away now? Totally understandable, and I totally get it, but you have to weigh your options here. It's either it's gonna take a minute to put it back where it goes, and it might be a pain to put it away, but at least it would be away. Or you could have it sitting out on your shelf, on your counter, on your desk, wherever it's gonna be that's, you know, gonna bug you, whether it's in your way or not. And you're gonna have to stare at it and think about it and be annoyed by it, and then eventually take the minute or two that it takes to put it away. And so systems do not have to be complicated. In fact, we could have a very simple system for this, where we just, at the end of the day, just put it away. I'm gonna talk about what to do at the end of the day again toward the end of the video, but I mean, your system could be that simple, that just, we're done with this, we're going to put it away. Or if you kind of like the Friday filing idea that I shared, where I don't file my papers away until Friday, you could have a place to collect such supplies that you have to put away, but you don't want to do it in the moment. If you have a bin or a box or something that could sit in, and then, you know, you make a plan that on Friday after school, I'm putting this thing away. It doesn't matter what you choose to do. What matters is that you have a plan, that you know, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and that you stick with it. And that would be a system. Like, it's just really simple, that every time I take something out, I put it away. Another system that's good to have in place and figured out ahead of time is for keeping your email and files organized. I have videos on this, blog posts, and we've done challenges on organizing these two things, the emails and the digital files. The thing is, typically teachers have folders set up, and that's like the backbone of how to organize those things. They just don't follow through in filing the emails and files into the folders. So if you have a system set up ahead of time, it just makes it so much easier. So I believe I've already kind of explained those systems. I'll link those videos below, but essentially with emails, I put them in the folders as soon as I can. And with the digital files, it's the same thing. I make sure that I name them. However I choose to name a file of that type. I like to be consistent. It makes it easier to find what I'm looking for. And as soon as I'm done with that file, like when I first create it, I save it to that folder. So I intend to add to this list over time, because I'm sure that there are more things that I haven't thought of that I do as systems, and it's just part of being on summer break. But my last system that I wanted to share about today is having an end of day routine. And this is just having a routine to close out your day. My biggest thing is if I come into school the next morning and my desk is just cluttered with mess and all kinds of things, I'm going to be starting my day stressed out. I need to get all the clutter off of my desk and everything filed away, organized before the end of the day. So the first thing that I do is I put up the new objective for the following day on the board. It's a requirement of my school that we do that, so our students know what the objective is. It is what it is. So I make sure I get that done the day before, and then I make sure to clear off my desk of anything that's there. The exception is if I have something that needs my immediate attention first thing in the morning, I will leave that right in the center of my desk. But then it's one thing. It's the only thing I have to worry about first thing in the morning. That doesn't stress me out. Having a ton of mess does. So I do that, and then going back to if you used supplies throughout the day that could be put away, just put them away then. And that's what I like to do. So it may keep me after school like 5-10 minutes tops if it was a crazy day, but it's so worth it in the end. This would also be the time that if I noticed a student left something behind, I put it somewhere that they can find it the next day, but so that the classroom is clear. And that's basically it for that routine, but it just sets me up to be productive the following day, which is why I did not want to leave it out. So 2 quick things before you go. If you want to see a list, or if the list grows, check out the blog post that I'll have linked below. It just goes over all the systems that I shared with some more details that maybe I didn't share in the video. And the second thing is that the Organized Teacher Challenge, not the Facebook group, but a challenge that I do every year in January. We're doing a summer edition this year. So this is for July 25th, 2021. If you're watching this in time for that, I'll have the link below for you to sign up, and you just sign up with your email. Then I'll email you all the details about the challenge, when it's taking place, but I'm doing this as a video series. So I will be walking you through how to organize your time throughout your school day so that you can hopefully leave on contract time or pretty close to it. I don't know about you, but my contract time ends when that last bell rings, and I don't necessarily want to leave school right that second because then the hallways are just filled with kids and backpacks and all that. So I'm totally fine with leaving like 5 minutes after contract time, but that's up to you. If you want to leave right at the end of contract time, if your school doesn't quite end that way, then by all means, go for that. So definitely check out those links below. I would love to have you as part of the challenge coming up at the end of July. And as always, thanks for watching.